to the Mediocre Disc Golf Podcast, the average podcast for the average disc golfer. As always, I'm Evan Amstutz here with the guy who's just going to sit here and copy me all episode, Dan Hesser. We're happy you could join us. Dan, how are you doing today other than throwing me off the intro?
It's funny, man. We've been doing this for, oh man, we were just talking about it. We've been doing this for almost a year now. So I've heard I've heard the intro so many times, and I think I can just, mouth along with you. It's pretty fun. So,
Yeah, I think at this point the intro has always been heyo, and the outro has always been we know we aren't perfect because we are mediocre. I think
right.
other than that, like the format and all that sort of stuff has completely changed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we're not quite to a year, but it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool to kind of see the transformation and everything. But we
Yeah.
are in a new year. We've welcome to 2023, everybody. Glad everybody could make it along with us.
Everybody enjoy the next 2 months of writing down the wrong date.
Mm. And we've got a lot of new news coming out of the disc golf world and everything, which is super cool. But did want to kind of just briefly chat real quick. Everybody's making New Year's resolutions and everything like that. Evan, I know I saw something on your story. You have some New Year's goals specific to disc golf that you've got written down.
Yeah, so I really want to cash in an MPO tournament.
Okay.
This year will be more of a blend of MA1 and MPO. I'd like to at least be above the cash line. I don't know if I'll be accepting cash, kind of depends on certain events and qualifying for different amateur events.
Right, right.
But if I can actually accept the cash, that'd be awesome.
Right.
And I would like to shoot 1,000 rated round. I've definitely had days where I felt like I could have, minus a mistake or two. So I know I'm close, but I'd like to finally get over that. I had one round last year where I knew I was on pace, and then I psyched myself out because I knew I was on pace.
Yeah, head games.
Oh yeah. And then I want to average over 950. We say ratings are stupid and they don't mean anything, and yet 2 of my goals are completely revolved around ratings. Let's go disc golf.
No, I'm kind of with you as far as the ratings goal and to increase my rating. I want to be in that 950 to 970 rated by the end of the year, which is a pretty lofty goal because I think I'm like 920 right now. Um, but the last few tournaments I've played, minus the one I should have played to and got like a ton of penalty strokes. Minus that one, I was averaging right around there. So if I can continue that trend, I know. And really for me, ratings don't matter, but it matters in terms of sponsorship levels, and it matters as far as registration and how early you can register for events. And that to me is what's important, not so much the number, but the opportunities that it provides, if that makes sense.
You're not looking for disc golf clout. You just want to be able to sign up for a couple of
Yeah.
events here and there. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I completely agree. I really want to play on a couple of Pro Tour events, maybe in 2024.
Heck yeah.
But at my current rating, I can't play at them because I'm 933.
Yeah.
And even if I bump up 2 points, I'm still going to be dead last as far as ability to sign up, and a lot of the cool ones will be full by
They're
that time.
full.
So
Yeah, exactly. And that's really my only goals, right? Is when it comes to that, is those are the steps I need to reach my other goals, which is to play in those tournaments and to actually yeah, I just think it'd be fun. I'm sure I'm gonna get smacked around, but gosh, it'd be fun to play in them. So
absolutely. And I think between the two of us, we've briefly talked about the goal of seeing how many courses in the top 100 in the world we can play.
yeah,
which will
yeah,
be
well,
which will be interesting considering your travel situation.
hmm
How many you can get to, but here in the Southeast, I have quite a few.
You have a ton, man. I was just looking at that. A ton of
Hmm.
them are in Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like 7 within 5 hours.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be something we're going to do. Do you want to talk about goals for the podcast? I'll throw one out there if you're.
go for it.
I want to see more engagement from our listeners,
Okay.
and
We're
um,
calling you out, or specifically Dan is. I think you're great listeners.
yeah, no, I want to see more engagement from our listeners. So I want to find ways to facilitate that
Hmm.
in a better way. Podcasts are pretty difficult to get engagement as far as feedback, um, but when it comes to even giveaways or whatever we have to do to get more engagement as far as getting more feedback and finding out what the community at large really wants to hear from us, I
Hmm.
think that's going to be critical to our continued success. And I want to see um, yeah, as far as numbers of downloads and everything like that, I feel like a lot of that's irrelevant. I feel like more so I want to make sure that the guests we bring on and our audience are engaged with those guests, are helping the guests out when we bring somebody in, and they see some support from them,
Hmm.
um, and uh, and our sponsors and everybody that we have lined up to support the podcast. I want to make sure that we're giving them their money's worth. So
Yeah.
um, that's really my goals.
Yeah. I think for myself, I really want to continue to increase the quality. From an editing standpoint, I still have a lot to learn. This is not remotely what I do for a living. So I've kind of been flying by the seat of my pants, editing, getting content out, uploading, all that sort of stuff. So to Dan's point about engagement, if you have any critiques or anything like that, I'd love to hear it because I always want to make it better, not only for myself from a learning standpoint, because I like to learn, but so all of our content can be better for all of you.
Yeah, for sure. And don't be shy. I mean, if you feel uncomfortable reaching out to one of us specifically, you can always reach out directly to the podcast.
Hmm.
You can reach out. I think we're on YouTube. Um, we're on
Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media that you'd like to. We'll find a. There's a way to get a hold of us. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you have suggestions for guests, if you have, just hey, I'd like it to hear your guys' opinion on X. Well, whatever it is,
Hmm.
let us know. And yeah, maybe we'll do it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe if you guys start giving suggestions, if you get a really good one, we'll send something your way in return.
Heck yeah. No, I mean honestly though, I mean, if it's merch or whatever, that'd be great to be able to send stuff and really facilitate those lines of communication. So.
Yeah. Well, also, kind of an update for the new year for both of us is the sponsor for our podcast is also, they now have a team, and Dan and I are on Team Disc Shop. So very excited for 2023. And I got that right. Wow. Very excited for 2023 and what that's going to bring. It's a pretty close knit group, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. They do offer a ton of discs. I know we've shouted them out, and I'm sure you're going to hear an ad for them on in a few minutes here. But
Yep.
there is a code for each of us individually. You can find that on our Instagrams or in any of our social medias, and our codes will be listed there. But first and foremost, support the podcast and make sure you use NDG Pod at checkout there, and you'll receive. I think it's like a 10% discount, which is
Yep.
great. Covers your shipping at least.
Or if you mention the podcast in store, you get that same 10%. So in store, online, 10%. So
Well, cool. I think we're getting ready to wrap up our interview with Isaac Robinson.
yeah. Uh we're very excited to continue to talk to him about his plans for the year and his goals and his off-season training. So let's get back to that. This week's episode is brought to you by the Disc Shop. One of the best days for a disc golfer is New Disc Day. With different runs of discs, the best way to get exactly what you want is by seeing what you're buying. The Disc Shop in Middleburg, Florida has the largest selection in-store in Jacksonville. Want the latest from Discmania? The Disc Shop has you covered. Looking for starter kits to introduce your friends? Head on down to the Disc Shop. If you prefer the convenience of online shopping, head over to thediscshop.com for all your disc golf needs. Listeners get 10% off when using the code MDGPOD at checkout online or by mentioning the podcast while in store. Located halfway between Trinity and Ronnie Van Zant, the Disc Shop is the spot. Have you thought about getting a coach? That is something that we talk about with Scott Stokely's coaches and caddies on the pro scene and where that is starting to go.
I actually haven't. That is something I haven't really considered. I like to kind of stick to my own game plan. I've listened to a couple different like sports psychologists and different experts in other sports, and kind of taken pieces from what they've had to say and applied it to my game plan and my mental game in disc golf. So I guess there's a lot of like outside resources that I've used, but I haven't thought about getting a specific like disc golf coach.
Yeah, I think like Paul Ulibarri for a while had like a swing coach or something like that, and we've been talking like as the game evolves, having like dedicated caddies or having like dedicated swing coaches, for lack of a better term, right? That would go out and help you with this or help you with specific aspects of your game. It's kind of interesting, like, because I think a lot of people are kind of like in your mindset, Isaac, where it's kind of like, I like just doing the things that, that work or whatever that I've been doing. But, likening it to ball golf where you have like those specialized different sort of things that kind of be interesting to see how the sport evolves and what the mindset's like in 10, 15 years from now.
Absolutely. And it might come to that, there's a lot of people who, I'm thinking specifically of like Overthrow Disc Golf. I don't know if you've heard of them. But, the guy's, he's not very high rated, but he's an excellent coach. He breaks down everyone, he breaks it down, makes it understandable. And his videos are amazing. And that's just one example of somebody who's really done coaching well, in my opinion.
Yeah, he does a great job. He does a great job of helping explain the mechanics in an understandable way instead of, I'm terrible at it. I'm like, just throw it this way. Like, throw it different.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Scott Stokely does a really good job of explaining like how to approach the game. Like I, for the longest time, struggled with distance control because I would try to take 10% off here or throw this disc at 60%. And then I watched a video of his like use the angle and height of your throws to manipulate the distance. You don't have to throw a putter as softly as possible.
Exactly.
In some scenarios.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
So we have a couple of fan questions coming in. One of them actually came up from a video that I think just came out. What did you and Alden do with the money you won off of Swanky?
Oh man. I think I still have it in my car. But I'm planning on getting some AirPods eventually.
Nice.
So I don't treat cash as like real money because I hardly have cash anymore. And so if I can save up enough cash to get some AirPods, it's like free AirPods.
There you go.
I get that. I do the same thing with cash. Like, oh wow, I have $50 in my wallet. Sweet.
Exactly.
All my cash stays in my disc golf bag for on course shenanigans.
Yep. Same.
So are you gonna be one of the AirPods guys, like using it on the course during tournaments?
No, probably not on the course. It'll just be for warm ups, and I listen to music all the time, so you know, just not on the course though.
Is that something you see growing in the sport? Is more people using headphones while playing rounds?
Personally, if people use AirPods or like headphones, it's not a huge deal to me. I think it would be cool if that kind of phased out though. Um, I don't think it's something that needs to grow. Because I don't think they can use headphones in golf, right? As far as
No,
I'm, as far as I know.
I don't think
yeah,
so.
they cannot.
Yeah, it seems, to me, it's just a little like on the unprofessional side. Um, like I said, I don't have a big problem with it, but you know, it would be, I would like to see it phased out, I think.
Yeah, same. Like I think it's super annoying when you're on a card with somebody who has them and you have to ask them 7 times for what was your score, and you're like, bro, wake
Yep.
up. It's
Yeah,
so annoying.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I go with the one earbud
Mhm. Yeah, and
method,
there's
and I
there's
make sure to pause it every time it's time to say scores or there's something going on.
yes, and there's
I
there's definitely been a couple tournaments where I've just been playing terrible, and I have my headphones in my bag, and so I just put one in.
Mhm.
I just
Try
there's
to zone
definitely
out a little
been
bit.
a couple instances.
Yeah.
What's your pump up music for that sort of situation?
Oh man, really, I'm a big fan of country music. Um, so really anything I prefer like '90s or early 2000s country.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
so that's usually my go-to.
Any particular song?
Um, Man, not off the top of my head.
Man, hoping we were gonna get a Isaac Robinson mixtape dropping soon. Like,
There you go.
Just put your warm up music on Spotify as a playlist.
There you go. I might have to do that.
It's another way to get income. Can you monetize a playlist on Spotify? I don't think so.
I have no idea. I wish.
I think it's just the artist, man.
Oh, okay. What is it like having your brother on tour as well and competing against your brother? Does that make it a little bit more of does it kind of bring down the nerves because you can break it down to a friendly competition with your brother, or does that make it even more stressful because you're like, if I lose to anybody, it just cannot be Ezra?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it brings the nerves up
Hmm.
for some reason. I don't know why. But I'll go out there and I'll play my best and be great. And then, for at New World, for instance, playing with him on lead card, it was like I was so focused on beating him that like every putt felt like it mattered so much more, and like all of this stuff. So yeah, it definitely brings the nerves up. I don't know exactly a reason for that, but it does.
Do you guys play a lot of like just casual rounds and stuff like that? I'm imagining.
Yeah, several times a week usually.
Who normally gets the best? Is it a toss up or?
It depends on the course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's most of the times it's a toss up, but there's definitely courses that I'm better at that he's not as good at. So
That makes sense. Makes sense. Is there a is he planning to tour more, or is he gonna go out instead of doing more local stuff, or do you know?
yeah, so he's actually planning on touring the majority of next year,
Oh,
which will
sick.
be really cool. So he and his wife are going to be on the road. Um, yeah, so I think he's starting in the Texas part of the tour, so in
Okay.
March, and
Okay.
then kind of going throughout the rest of the year. So
Is he
super
like
excited.
is he gonna play Roy G?
Um,
Is that the trying to think of which tournament that is.
I think I think his first one will be, I think Waco's first in Texas.
Okay.
So he's going to start in Waco and then play the two other Texas DGPT events, um, and then pretty much the rest of them here on out, for the rest of the year.
Have you ever played Roy G before? One of
I
my
don't think
favorite
so.
one of my
No.
favorite courses in Texas, man. It is gorgeous.
Okay, I'll have to play it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, but
Sweet.
How do you feel about the West Coast swing as a East Coast guy? I mean, you
It's a
drove
long drive.
39 hours. So.
Yeah, it's a it's a very long drive. Um, the places out there, I'm just purely excited for the sightseeing.
Mhm.
Um, being on the West Coast it's beautiful. The Portland courses that we played last year were so cool. Especially I forget what the golf course one was called, but that one is just amazing. Um,
the OTP
yeah.
Open
So
one, or
what's that?
which course? Which tournament was it
The
in?
Portland Open, the golf course one. I forget what it was called. Um, that was such a good course though. Um, but yeah, super excited to play in California. Haven't played in any courses in California, so looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not on the tour next year, but get out to De La at least and play around there, play around at Golden Gate. I got to play
Yes.
those, and those are my top two. Granted, I haven't played Smugs or any of those courses, but those were definitely life changing as far as disc golf.
Cool. Yeah, I've been wanting to play De La for a while.
Yeah, it's a very interesting course. Just make sure you stay out of the poison oak.
Will do.
Checks out. That's good life advice there, bro. So, you're gonna start your season again in Vegas. Is that the plan?
Yeah. After going to the All-Star event in Arizona.
Okay.
Nice.
Where's the
Yep.
All-Star event this year? Is it
I don't actually know the place. I know it's in
okay?
Arizona. Um, but yeah, going to the All-Star event and then going up to Vegas and then going back to play the Memorial, even though it's not technically on the tour. Um,
Great course. Yeah.
Still super fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
great courses out there. Yeah, and then going to Texas and there on out.
Nice. Nice. So, are you in a van nowadays? I don't.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I bought a little Ford Transit Connect. So the bed is just big enough for me. If I was any taller, it would be miserable. Um, but yeah, got plenty of storage, got a bed. Um, I just got a generator thing, little big old battery. Because honestly, I need some AC in there, so I'm gonna get a little portable AC unit. Um, and I learned a lot from this past year on how to do things, what not to do, and some things that I want to change. So yeah, making some improvements to the van is also on the off-season to-do list.
Nice.
What
Yep.
what are some of those things that you learned? I think that's a aspect of tour life that we never hear about.
Yeah. It so this summer it got so hot in the van, especially in like the Midwest. Even at night, I think it was like 80 to 90 degrees. And so definitely having some sort of air circulation in there is very necessary. Um, and then just the food. It's hard to make a variety of food choices on the road, but towards the end of the year, I got a grill, so I was cooking hot dogs. I want to branch off into like hamburgers and grilled cheese and
Wow.
something other than hot dogs for a little bit.
Like a little propane, like small,
Mhm.
like something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Do you have like a 110? Like, can you plug in stuff?
Um,
An inverter?
that's no, so that's why I got the generator. It's going to be in there, and I'll be able to, charge my fridge consistently and have a little cooktop if I want.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it'll open up the food options much more.
Yeah. That's something I wondered about. Like, how do you guys cook? Because
Mhm.
like for somebody who doesn't like to eat out very much at all, I like to cook most of my meals, and it's like I feel like that would be such a struggle, like just trying to figure that everything
Yeah,
out.
it's definitely a little tricky. I know for the first half of the tour, I was eating meat and cheese sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly for the majority of my meals.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, cool. Do we have any other questions, Evan?
Yeah. So, are you going to Europe for that little 2-week swing?
Yes, absolutely. I need to buy the plane ticket, but making plans. Seppo's over there working very closely with Prodigy. They're kind of coordinating everything. I'm going to play the Prodigy events over there, actually.
Oh, heck yeah.
So I'll play the European Open, and then there's some of the European Prodigy Tour that I'm going to play. So I think I'll miss the PCS Open over in Norway, but I will be mostly in Finland and Sweden playing
That's
the
awesome,
tournaments,
man.
So
pretty excited about that. I bet that's probably, yeah.
I'm so excited. I've never been out of the country, so
oh wow.
I think I'm going to take one of my brothers with me. He's 16, so I think he's going to be my caddy. We're just going to make just a fun summer out of it. It's going to be a blast.
That sounds awesome. That's your brother's probably gonna be so stoked.
Yes, he's already very excited. We're making plans where we've got a list of sightseeing stuff that we want to do and just kind of mapping out the whole trip.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What kind of sightseeing do you have time for when you're on tour?
Yeah, so I believe it or not, there's a decent amount of time to sightsee. So on one of my the travel days, the 2 or 3 days that we have to get from place to place, I'll usually map out whatever's closest on the way, and been able to see a lot of national parks, a lot of national monuments. I love hiking, so definitely a lot of hiking, and so more time than you might think.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, I'm just gonna throw this out there. There's a course about an hour outside of Vegas.
Okay.
It's called the Wallapai Mountains. It's literally hiking through the mountains with a disc golf course, and there's like elk and like it's a national, like it's a preserve essentially. So there's just tons of animals all over the place, and there's a creek that flows through it, and you're hiking.
Oh my gosh.
But
that's okay. Shoot me the name of that course because I'm gonna go there.
Oh, sick! Yeah, dude, I'll send it to you. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite courses I played just because you're surrounded by nature the whole time.
That sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. What else we got?
What is your favorite disc in the bag right now? And if you had no sponsorship restrictions, what would be your favorite disc?
Oh, okay. I think my favorite disc in the bag right now is probably the green FX4 that I have. It's a great disc. So fly, ton of glide, ton of distance out of that thing, even though it's just a fairway driver. Used it all over the courses this year. I think I threw it at several holes every tournament this year. So that's definitely my favorite. If I didn't have any spot, I would love to throw a Halo Wraith, I think. The Halo stuff looks so cool, and it's more stable than the stock runs of the discs, and so watching Garrett Gurthie throw that Halo Wraith that he has is I want to try it one day.
One of my favorite discs, man. It's a nice disc.
Okay, yeah, it looks like I would love to try that out. I actually haven't thrown one at all. I need to find one.
What is your favorite Alden Harris video?
So I was explaining this to somebody the other day because they hadn't seen any, and so I was like, I'll just send you the best one. So I actually watched a couple more. I go back and watch them. I think it has to be the Maple Hill one where we worked with the Nick and Matt show, and we got on the podcast. I think that's my personal favorite one.
Gannon like sticking his face 4 inches away from the camera.
It took us probably a solid hour plus to record that whole thing because we just could not stop laughing.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It was good.
Gannon strikes me as one of just a general menace on tour, like on the course and off the course.
Yes. Yep. He's so much fun to be around. But yeah, he is. He's so outgoing that he messes with everyone. So nobody's safe. You know, whether you know him or not, he's gonna mess with you.
I think one of my favorite segments of interviews that we've done on this podcast is we had Matt Schlabach on, and that was right after Gannon caddied for Thomas Gilbert, and Thomas said that he was like a B minus caddy. And then a couple weeks a C. Then a couple weeks later we had Gannon on and we asked what happened. He's like, well, Thomas just sucked. Just
yes, I remember that.
It's like, well, fair enough, I guess. Well, I think that wraps up our questions. Have anything you want to shout out, promote, anything at all? Floor is yours.
Cool. Yeah. As always, want to thank Prodigy Discs. You know, I wouldn't be out doing what I love without them. So, thank you to them. And, you know, I was able to renegotiate my contract a little bit with them. So looking forward to a great 2023 and 2024. Super excited. Got a couple, Prodigy is the main one. There's some sponsorships in the works for next year, but not official yet. But yeah.
I was gonna ask about that. Like, do you have people like coming out of the woodwork now and asking you to jump on their teams all over the place?
A little bit, yeah. Not a whole lot. But I'm going to be partnering with a retailer next year.
Nice.
That I'm super excited about. We're going to be working together to design some custom stuff. And I'm actually flying out to sign with them in this next week or two. So they're flying me out, and they're going to see the distribution center and their sales and their store and everything. So super excited about that.
Cool. Is there any sponsorship opportunities you're looking for?
Not really. I mean, a shoe sponsor would be great, but maybe gotta play another couple years before that happens. But
have you tried out the disc golf shoe, the Idios?
I haven't. I've heard a lot of. Honestly, I've heard mixed reviews about them. A lot of people who really like them, and then a couple people who are, you know, kind of in the middle where they're like, yeah, they're fine, or, you know, I wish they had this, or they had, you know, some extra grip or whatever. But for the most part, I've heard they're pretty solid.
Well, Isaac, we really, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us and answering all the questions we could throw at you.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Definitely, anytime.
Right. Good luck on the tour in 2023.
And on the off season, the practices, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, not every day that you get to talk to the rookie of the year.
Man, it is so cool hearing and watching different people in our sport really succeed and do well. And Isaac's one of those guys, super likable guy, and really it's a guy you want to root for. So really glad we got a chance to talk to him and learn about his off season a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to talk about off season and van life. That's not something that a lot of tour pros talk about. Not that they're not open about it, but I just don't think they're asked about it very often. So it was fun to hear about that.
Yeah, I've always wondered about the cooking aspect. Like, besides Ezra, who just drives around with an Instapot and cooks beans all day, I've always been wondering about that.
Yeah, that would drive me insane, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, yeah, peanut butter and jelly and ham and cheese. I'd get really bored really fast. That's for sure.
I couldn't do it. I was in college, not doing it again.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up for today. You can find Isaac on Instagram at IsaacWRDG_19, Dan at D Hesser, and me at Evan Amstutz DG. Remember to follow the pod on Instagram at Mediocre Disc Golf Pod and on Twitter at Mediocre DG Pod. If you'd like to support us, buy our shirts on mythicdiscgolf.com and listen to us every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you enjoyed the show, leave us 5-star review, and if you didn't, still give us 5 stars and tell us why. We know we aren't perfect because we are mediocre. Have a good night.